from the Ticats Audio Network. This is the Ticats This Week.
Ticats This Week coming at you hot and heavy for another week. We are, my gosh, halfway through the season already in the Canadian Football League, and the Tiger Cats are numero uno in the CFL's East standings. They have a big game coming up in Regina against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Hamilton 6-3 coming off an OTL against BC. Roughriders still riding high. They're 7-1 tops in the Canadian Football League. We'll get to a bunch of hot topics this week, including an exciting announcement from the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Stay with us on that. Let's look at Week 11 in the CFL. We have Ottawa at Winnipeg kicking things off Thursday night. The Argos are in Edmonton Friday night. Tiger Cats, Roughriders, 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday. Tiger Cats pregame begins at 2. Kickoff, of course, at 3. And then Week 11 concludes in BC with the Alouettes in British Columbia to take on the Lions. That brings us to the standings. We'll start in the West as we usually do. Saskatchewan 7-1, Calgary 6-3, the Bombers 4-4, the Lions are 4-5, the Elks 2-6, and in the East, Hamilton number 1 at 6-3, the Alouettes 5-4, Ottawa at 3-6. They just beat the Argos, who now fall to 2-7. Should we make some picks on Week 11? Should we start this tradition here on Ticats This Week?
Absolutely, Rick.
Simoni,
let's do it, Rick.
He put the bug in my ear, and I'm like, okay, Mr. Lawrence, let's do it. Sim will give you the honor of going first. We have Ottawa in Winnipeg. Who do you got?
Ottawa and Winnipeg. Somebody got to beat the tiebreaker, so I'm going to take Ottawa. I'm taking Ottawa for no reason, but this got to be my surprise game of the week.
Okay. There's always one or two or
you
three
know
or
what I
four.
mean? You just got to bet with the odds.
Toronto in Edmonton. Simoni,
Edmonton gets the win. Edmonton has to get this win. They need the win. Mm-hmm. So I think Toronto's running on a little high. Like, they feel good. Like, they're playing real good football. I think on defense-wise, those guys are getting their legs moving a little bit. Even the backup quarterback that's starting right now for them, Arbuckle, he's playing really good football. So, but I think Edmonton's going to take that one.
It's a battle of the backups with Arbuckle versus Fajardo, who are suddenly, still starting now. Hamilton at Saskatchewan.
Fajardo should have been the starter, but we'll skip that.
Ticats at Roughriders. Who do you got?
We got the Ticats. We got Ticats by 21.
I love it. And Montreal in BC on Saturday night.
Oh, we got BC. Montreal without that quarterback, I think he's their engine to that whole team right now.
Yeah, I think it should still be a good game, though. Montreal's defense is playing well. Yeah. Matt, Roughriders at Blue Bombers.
I'm going to go with Winnipeg at home. Mm-hmm. They're probably going to be behind another sellout crowd, so I'm going to say Winnipeg taking that one in a close one, though. In a close one against Ottawa. Can
Edmonton keep it rolling against the Argonauts on Friday night?
Edmonton will keep it rolling. Fajardo back there, he's building a lot of confidence with that team. Yeah. And they just came off a nice road win against Montreal in Montreal. So I'm saying they're going to keep that momentum going and get another dub at home and give those Edmonton fans something to cheer about.
Roughriders hosting the Tiger Cats Saturday afternoon.
Oh, that's Ticats. Ticats on the road. Sim, you said by 21? I'm saying 21 as well. Yeah, let's go 21.
21's a nice round number. And Montreal in BC Saturday night.
Oh, we'll go BC. I'm with you on this one, Sim. I don't think Montreal's they're having a tough time at that quarterback position. And Nathan Rourke coming off of a close victory, but one way he put up some numbers, so I'm sure he's riding on a little bit of a high with that confidence with that team. And I think BC takes one at home.
Yeah, we're kind of on the same page. I do like Winnipeg. I'll go against Sim on that one. I do like Toronto in Edmonton. I think the Argos are angry after losing the way they did against Ottawa. They were up, 22-1 at one point against the Red Blacks. I think Toronto gets it done on the road. Hamilton, let's go by 21 against Saskatchewan. That sounds like a good result. How about 21-0?
Page.
Wouldn't that be something?
Oh, shutout!
Boom.
Wow.
And I like BC over Montreal. I don't like Montreal's quarterbacking room right now. Until Davis Alexander comes back, I don't think the Owls are going to do well in their upcoming games. Speaking of which, upcoming for the Ticats, after this game, it's Labor Day already. That is insane. So the Ticats will get a bit of a rest after this game. They'll have the bye week and then get ready for the Argonauts in the first game in September, which is always a doozy. We have to give props to Julian Hauser, CFL on a roll for week number 10. He had 2 defensive tackles, a quarterback sack, and an awesome interception as well, although he would take the win over the interception any day of the week. But good job by Julian Hauser to get it done. Simoni, what impressed or surprised you the most about Ticats versus Lions last week?
Julian Hauser, we could start there. With the Hamilton Ticats, they've been playing the same kind of consistent football, and it's like necessarily not always been good football, like as far as like tackling and stuff, but they're making the big plays like Julian Hauser was able to do, even though they weren't tackling the quarterback well. Julian made that pick and gave them an opportunity to still go win the game with the offense being hot as fish grease all second half. It looked like every time they touched the ball, they were going to score between Bo Levi and Nathan Rourke. But the thing is, that's how the game set up in the beginning of the game, because on the earlier in the game, Nathan Rourke had this one scramble, and I was just like, oh my, our starting linebacker Versa bull rush James Butler, put him into the ground. Rourke was able to shake out of there, make an elusive run, and get in them in field goal range to get the 3 points. Defense was doing a good job just not letting them finish in the first half, but then it got everything changed in the second half tremendously. And the thing that I was surprised at is about fundamental football. I just want to see better tackling, better blocking, and just like finishing, like just get back to the basics, because you know the big plays that we're getting, if we don't get those big plays, the games are going to look completely different. So as long as you can stay on your fundamentals and make sure all your fundamentals are up to date, especially without our dangerous returner back there right now. I'm not sure how he's doing, if he's going to play this week or what's the situation, but like we have to make sure our fundamentals are locked in on special teams as well, because when you have somebody special back there, he can make fundamentals look better than they normally are as well too. So you need to make sure that you sharpen your fundamentals now. So I'm going to be excited to see how good our fundamentals continue to be. And then another thing is just this team is just like resilient, you know, so that's what I'm just happy about, because it's like everybody was talking about the short week and this and that and making like, I call those excuses, like before, if like whenever we're in military academy, people used to be like, man, I just got done practice, I don't want to have, like, I'm tired for fight night, like just make an excuse. So if he loses in the fight night's this thing where all the TAC officers went home, and if anybody had a problem between military and football, we'd have fight night, we'd put them in like a big room and they would have to duke it out. So some people would make excuses before it, just like, in case I lose, this is why I lost. So you know, I'm happy that the Hamilton Ticats are not buying into that, because you know we call that soft ears, and they're just going out there and they're grinding and they're working. And I was super happy about how they came in there and gave the effort to go out to win the game. But the thing is, Nathan Rourke, he was so elusive. We need to find a way to tackle these quarterbacks better, you know, because those are always our problems every time we look at these games. Like even like Cody Fajardo was giving us a little bit of problems. Rourke was giving us problems. Anybody that can kind of like move on the quarterback front was giving us problems. That was one of those games where we should have had 9 sacks, but we were unable to take the quarterback down. And that's something that we got to find a way that we can get better on the fundamentals of tackling and making sure that when we grab the ball carrier, they're falling on the ground. There was too many times, whether it was the big Coite touchdown in the beginning where we missed the tackle and then we just couldn't get them on the ground and we carried people into the end zone. So fundamentals for sure. But I'm actually super excited about this team's resiliency, and there's no quit in them.
Matt, what impressed or surprised you about the Ticats versus Lions?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with what impressed me was just the fight overall from this team. With that, the shaky first half offensively, and you wouldn't even notice that the offense was having a tough first half. If you looked at the second half, that offense came out and they moved the ball downfield. We saw highlight catches from Kenny Lawler. Tim White went off in that game and really impressed and had made flashes. And another thing that impressed me too with Tim White, if we're just kind of sticking with him, is he was punt returning, he was kick returning, and he was producing on offense. And I think that's one, is a sign of a player that's well conditioned for one, and then two, another, just a player that has just an immense amount of talent.
Matt, can you hold your thought there really quick? Because we
absolutely
talked about Tim White. that is I wanted to just let everybody know what he was doing. Like this is professional football, and he plays wide receiver, and he doesn't just play any wide receiver position. He plays the boundary wide receiver position,
right?
Meaning, like, most of the plays in the CFL, they tailor it to the boundary side because everything happens fast, and it's the closest thing to like American style football, easiest to teach, and all of that. So that's always happening. And not only is he just over there by himself, he's over there with Kenny Lawler. So a lot of his routes are meant to open up for Kenny Lawler, whether he's running deep, running people off. You've seen how he come off in the halftime. So what he was doing was crazy. And then he was doing it at a high level. He had over 10 yards for punt return. And then on the kick return game, he had over like a 30 average. And I'm just like, in my head, I'm just like, this guy is in incredible shape. Because he was playing at a high level at punt returner, kick returner, and wide receiver. Mm-hmm. That's like, I just had to like put my little 2 cents in that. That's a great point, Matt. Thanks for bringing that up.
Oh, absolutely. And with Tim White too, it's when you're talking about those the routes that he's running, when he's opening things up for Kenny, he's got to run that at full speed. There's no like half stepping when you're out there. You know, sometimes guys think it's like, I'm going to take a play off, or you see it sometimes, but there's no plays off for Tim White. And so I thought just the motor that he showed, there's no plays off. So he's showing a high motor for 4 quarters, and he's kick returning and punt returning, just exceptional athleticism from him, and again, just showing his reliability. This is something that he's been doing for a handful of years with this Ticat organization. And so that was one of the things I was impressed with. And then going over to the defensive side, I don't want to say surprised, it's more kind of just disappointed, but it was just, just not being able to close out, and that they had that 3rd and long in that 4th quarter there, and just they were able to execute. I when it was 3rd and 12, I was like, the game's done. Like, that's what I said in my head. I was like, the game's over. And I was just disappointed when BC executed on that one. But again, BC, they get paid too. They have some players, they have some playmakers on that side of the ball as well. And again, not to discredit what Hamilton is able to do, but that was one of the things that I was disappointed with. But on the positive side, what I was impressed with was just the versatility from some of the defenders, because we had a lot of guys that went down. So Katz went down. There was a moment where Peters was down for a little bit, and I saw Moxie. Moxie went out. He played boundary corner. Moxie went out and he played. He was at the Sam at one point when Stubblefield went down, and then of course Moxie went over and he played he's been playing the wide side at that corner. So just showing the versatility. If a guy goes down, he's able to roll in, and I think that's something Brandon Isaac and Coach Brent Monson, that's something that they're looking for in this back end, because as we get as the games we get further and further down this stretch, the injuries are going to happen. We hate to see it. We don't want the guys to go down, but it is something that happens. And so making sure that we have the guys that can roll in and fall in the place and not really skip a beat. And so I think just being able to test their depth a little bit and having guys like Moxie fill in, I thought that was something that was impressive. But again, but I'm with you, Sim. we want to see these guys finish on some of these tackles in the back end, clean up on those sacks, because man, Rourke was out there rolling and spinning out of like they had him in his grasp. They had them in their grasp, and he's just evading these sacks and and then extending plays. And so if they can tighten that up, I think this this Hamilton team will give not only BC a run, but a lot of these other offenses, they can give them a lot of fits, because you don't want to put that stuff on film and keep that on film. You want to make sure that these things are getting corrected. And so those are a few things that kind of stuck out to me from that last game.
Yeah, good points from both of you. I do want to tackle or jump on a couple of those things. Number one, just on the Tim White thing, if he starts playing defense, I'm just going to give him this microphone so he could drop it, because that would be insane. The guy's doing pretty much everything. On the defensive side of the ball, Sim, you mentioned in the pregame just before kickoff last week that game against BC, because of the lack of rest time for the Ticats, angles are going to be really important, and we saw that during the game. So that'll be something obviously that every team is going to work on. But that was a great highlight on your part. And the one thing that really surprised me about Ticats BC is Hamilton did not take a penalty, which I can't recall. I don't remember the last time that happened for any team, whether it's CFL or NFL. Like, that is an accomplishment. Let's not forget, that game went into overtime, 60-plus minutes. So kudos to the Ticats on a short week, 3 games, 12 days, not taking a penalty. Wow, like they were mentally sharp. That really
That's
shows
crazy.
you
That
how
got to be a world
locked in they
record
were.
or something, Rick,
Yeah.
because Coach O used to talk about that all the time. He's like, let's be the first ones to go out here with no penalty during the game. And I remember every single game, like,
You hear it all the time too. Sim, they'll be like, "We want to have a penalty-free game. We want to have a penalty-free football game." It's like penalty-free, like not offside, a false start. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm going to check with CFL stats to see when the last time a CFL team went penalty-free in a game. I'm sure it's been years. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of the CFL, what a week it was in Week 10. We had the Ticats BC in overtime. We had Ottawa, Edmonton, and Calgary all rallying from double-digit deficits to win their games. Which game from your playing days, Matt, will you always remember with some fondness?
Oh man. Okay, so I played on a handful of teams, but I'm gonna stay with the Ticats. This is Ticats Audio Network, so I'm gonna talk about a memory that I had with the Ticats, and I'm gonna go to the Eastern semifinal against Montreal, where the wind was that swirling wind. There's a lot at stake. We had Henry Burris that was out there, and he was leading the charge, and the defense was flying around. We had Chop coming down, forcing he forced the fumble on the sideline, and I believe it was Rico Murray that recovered it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was Rico Murray. So, but there was just like a lot of action in that game, and of course, one of the things that stuck out, and I've never seen this since, was when Sean White, he's on BC now, but he kicks the field goal. They're about 20 yards away from the field, and the ball goes up for about 5. It stays in the air for a second and completely dies. And so there was just a lot of wild things that happened. That year was just a wild year altogether. Just playing in Guelph, and then of course going over to Toronto and winning the East Final in Toronto. So I think that's a fond memory that I have, just being a part of the organization. And that was a big year because we went to the Grey Cup, but we fell short to Sask that year. But I'm going to say that Eastern semifinal game against Montreal for sure.
Simoni, before we get to yours, let me give you mine. And
please, because this is hard for me. I'm trying to pick.
It's so hard. I'm like, I'm putting one game. I'm like, come on, Rick. Oh my God.
I'll give you some more time to chew on it and think about it. So mine is in 2004, another game that went into overtime, Labor Day Classic, Argos, Ticats, Old Ivor Wynne Stadium. Of course, this is 2004. Troy Davis rushes for 233 yards, still an all-time Ticats single-game record.
Damn.
And they tie 30-30. Michael Bishop scores in overtime on a touchdown QB keeper, and it's a 30-30 tie. Just a crazy game back and forth. It was so entertaining.
Ain't no way
Michael
a tie game was your favorite game.
It was
Rick.
so crazy. It was so nuts. And let's not forget, first season of the Bob Young era as well. Like the first Labor Day Classic was just
okay.
Okay. Okay. Hey, I'm gonna sit here and pick one just because this game was one of those games where it's like, you know how like when you make a mistake and now like if this game loses, you know this game is the reason you lost this game is your fault. You know what I'm saying? So it was the Labor Day game in 2019, right? So I knew this game I had to be on my best behavior. You know, all season 2019, I had to be on my best behavior because I was not getting any calls that was going to go my way, right? So other teams would egg me on and try to like pull me onto the ground and do extra stuff. So Wilder, he grabbed me and tried to pull me down as he's falling on the ground, and we're both on the ground. It was a mic'd up game, too, so if TSN dares to play what we were saying to each other, they should, because it was great football. So we're sitting there talking about it, and then a big fight broke out. I think 3 of our starters got kicked out this game. We didn't have a Sam linebacker. It was literally, we played one defense the whole entire football game against Toronto in 2019. I remember Bev had to come in and play Sam, and we played played this one defense called Ticat the whole game, and I'm just like, just jam the 3 receiver, sing def, or come into this gap. And then I'm sitting here coaching extra because I'm like, we can't lose this game because I literally just got 3 of my players kicked out this game. So it was one of those games where you play extra hard, you coaching extra hard, you getting everybody on the list. But that was one of those fun games. But I was like, man, we lost a lot of players. We're down 3 starters in the CFL. Y'all know what that's like, losing 3 starters on the defense. So that was one of those games. I was just proud of the guys. I think Langa even came in and was playing. It was crazy. It was a good game. It had to be that Labor Day in 2019, how we just pulled that one out for sure.
Yeah, let the record show that the Ticats ended up winning that game. So no fingers were pointed at you, Simoni. Sim, we'll stay with you on this one. By the way, Ticats in Saskatchewan this Saturday. Tiger Cats pregame begins at 2 Eastern Time. Kickoff is at 3. Matt and Bubble of the pregame show, Simoni and I, with the play-by-play and the color analysis. And also later on in the podcast, some exciting news about what's coming out of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. We'll reflect and offer our tidbits on that. But Sim, after scoring touchdowns in 5 of his first 6 games, receiver Kenny Lawler has been held off the score sheet in 3 games in a row. For a guy who had 8 catches for 162 yards against the Riders in Week 2, I get the sense that he's licking his chops to get out there and show that he can get back into the end zone. What do you think?
Absolutely. And this is the game he gets to do that, too. I don't want to hear we're putting 3 people over top of Kenny Lawler. We're going to do this. Nah. Show you're a good football team and you match up well. All these other scary teams that play football to make sure one person doesn't make all these plays, even though BC had 2 people on Kenny and he beat both of them and made a spectacular catch still. But I expect the Roughriders to come in here like, hey, we big dogs, man. Who, Kenny, who? Hey, you got him manned up, bro. We playing our regular defense. Kenny's going to get to see regular defense and play regular football this week because he's going against a number 1 team. But Kenny's going to make his plays. His plays are going to come, like the kind of streak Kenny was on, the way we were so excited about it is because it was unheard of. We're not used to seeing that stuff. That's why we're all excited. So we know the ebbs and flows of football. I'm sure he's going to get on that run soon. And I wouldn't mind when it started getting a little chilly out. The former Winnipeg player used to that. He's still doing everything he was doing when it was hot out because a lot of the game changes when it starts to get cold out. And the thing we can depend on Kenny is when the game changes and it gets cold out, he's still going to be Kenny Lawler. They still got to worry about the same things that they would have to worry about in the summertime. Everybody's not like that, Rick and Matt. Like when it gets cold outside, some people fundamentals go to poop. That's why I'm trying to make sure our fundamentals are good because it gets a little tougher stopping the run if you're not in fundamentally shaped football when it starts getting cold out and them big hogs are already sweating even though it's a little more chilly and they still driving you back and everything. It gets different. So the thing with Kenny Lawler is he's going to be consistently good and not consistently good. That's a disrespect. Consistently great because he's that type of player. He's going to demand what he demands all the time. And even when he just has a couple catches, no touchdowns, the thing is he demands what he demands all the time. So when you see Tim White one-on-one with the safety in the open field coming out of the half, that's because Kenny Lawler demands what he demands all the time. So he's opening up things just because he demands what he demands all the time.
Matt, do you share the feeling that Sim and I have that he's about to go off again?
Hey, so here's the thing: stars, they're gonna shine. They're gonna shine regardless, and he's a star. He's a star, and so again, Sam, you said it so well. Yeah, he's going to have a couple games where he's going to have 40 yards, 50 yards receiving, but he's coming back with another 150 game, another 175 game, 2 tugs. Like, it's coming. It's a matter of when it's going to come. Hopefully it comes this week. We know he's getting a lot more attention.
We're
going to put a show on Labor Day, September 1st?
Kenny, let me holler at you real quick. Let me tell you something about Labor Day, boy. Let me holler at you real quick, Kenny. Hey, Kenny.
He's going to put a show on
Labor Day, bro. When you come and do what you do on Labor Day, bro, your whole life changes. Your life changes. You don't got to pay for nothing. You get to park wherever you want in the city. You can leave your car running. Nobody going to touch it. Like, life just changes completely when you win that game on Labor Day with the whole city shut down, watching the
Oh, he's gonna. No, bro, we need the energy. Bring the energy. I'm here for it. No, but it's. I think again, the star's gonna shine. He's gonna have. He's gonna get his. And the thing is too. What's awesome about this is, and we've been saying this like for weeks and weeks on end, is if Kenny has an off game, that just means Tim White's about to go nuts. So that means Keandre Smith is about to have a day, or we've seen it with Brandon O'Leary Orange, who's going to open things up. Our guy Shamar Bridges just got a touchdown and got on the board too last week. So it's just going to be a matter of who's it going to be this week, kind of deal. I think that's the type of energy that they have in the meeting rooms. Is like who's it going to be? Which receiver is it going to be? And if it's Kenny Lawler this week, let's go Kenny. But again, he's a star and he's going to get his. They're going to find ways to put the ball in his hands. And he's a playmaker. Like you see with the plays that he's making on that sideline with draped in double coverage. It's good luck to a lot of these secondaries that are, like they said, they're trying to put extra attention because there's other receivers too that can stretch your defense out.
Yeah, he's just a freak in nature. He's good for a highlight reel catch per game, and
every game.
He's just too talented not to break out, and I get the sense that he's going to do so this week. It'd be fun. Let's switch to the defensive side of the ball, your expertise, if you will, because Saskatchewan, they came into Hamilton a few weeks ago, back in week 2, in fact, and they beat the Tiger Cats in what was a closely fought game. But, there was really 2 big offensive plays for them, a 47-yard touchdown run by A.J. Ouellette. Keyshawn Johnson and Trevor Harris kind of picked on Destin Talbert for a couple of plays in a row. They got into the end zone in the fourth quarter. Matt, do you envision any new defensive wrinkles or schemes for this game?
Not necessarily schemes. I think it's just going to be more just cleaning up the execution. I think for Hamilton, especially at this point of the season, it's like we are who we are type of deal, And there might be a particular coverage that they throw in here or there, but overall, they are who they are at this point of the season, and it's just going to be more the execution. So now. This team, I was focused on the secondary a little bit, but the secondary had a little bit of a different look the first couple games. Stubblefield wasn't in there. Stubblefield's there now, and he brings a completely different element to this unit altogether in terms of the way he pass rushes, the way he can tackle, the running backs trying to get to second level. He's there cleaning things up, and then of course his coverage as well. He's been a guy that's been very active. He hasn't had it. We're waiting for that interception. But he's been active, getting those knockdowns and the PBUs. And so I think the secondary in particular is a completely different unit. And now also with Verasuk, who's had a few extra reps too, he's in his rookie campaign right now. But he's developing a little bit more. You can tell he's a little bit more comfortable at this point of the season. And so I think those bigger runs that we saw earlier in the season cleaned up. And I think that you're going to see a better execution from this entire defense. And then, of course, you look at the rest of the unit. Jamal Peters, there's a lot of weeks we're not even saying his name, and the reason we're not saying his name is because he's doing his job. He's doing his job. He's locking receivers down on that back end. And but I think one of the things that we want to see too is just the front. We clean things up with the front, and we were just cleaning up those sacks. We can really disrupt. We can really disrupt Trevor Harris and the rest of that unit. And so I think we're going to see a team or a unit that's going to execute even better than we did week 2.
I like that. Sim, do you envision any new wrinkles or defensive coordinator Brett Monson trying anything new?
Well, I know Coach Monson's happy he can just rush these pass rushers and see how good they really are, and they can actually rush. And Trevor Harris, he's not going to make anybody miss. I think the defense has been doing a great job getting to the quarterback. They're just not finishing. So that's the thing. Like if you're going into this game, I call this a get back game for the defense because you can say what you want, but our stars didn't perform like they've usually been seeing them perform this past week against BC, and that's what we were missing. And, we let up a couple of big plays over there at the corner position, a lot of missed tackles, just diving and floundering at the quarterback. So this is one of those games where our defense wants to go in there and prove that they're still an elite defense, because at the end of the day, you look at that last week, you're like, whoa, who was that? And you're looking at the roster like, who stepped up? Like, okay, Julian, where'd Julian come from? You know what I mean? Like the consistent players that we've been talking about all the time, we weren't talking about them that previous game that we just lost. And that's something that they're going to have to come in and step up on too. And I'm sure like they're going to be like, hey man, as well as like, we can't just like, unless you're really hurt, don't get on the ground because that's contagious too. So it's like, yo, like if you got to like just toughen it out a little bit, but don't lay on this football ground, especially on the road, because that does so much for the other team. Like, look at the, you know what I mean? Like, so that's something that we got to clean up too. But so if I'm Coach Monson, the wrinkles, you're happy because you're good. Like, look, if it's a dive play, it's a dive play. Osai, go get it. Because if Trevor Harris pull it, Jamal Peters at boundary can run them down from the field. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be one of those things where if the Hamilton Tiger Cats know this is a fundamental type of football game, because what Saskatchewan is going to do is they're going to test you. They're going to say, let's see if they can stop the run. Not one time, two times. They're going to run the ball up to 20 times a game against Tiger Cats this coming week. So we're going to have to stop the run. That's going to be absolutely key into this battle against Saskatchewan. But if I'm the Hamilton Tiger Cats, I'm like, yes, this is the kind of football that we want to play after a game like that. Let's work on our fundamentals. And that's what the Saskatchewan Roughriders gives you a chance to do, work on fundamentals. You don't have a scrambling quarterback back there playing sandlot football where like DBs are like, man, I'm covering this guy for 500 seconds. What you want me to do, coach? The work literally spun out, stiff arm somebody, then threw the ball, coach. So now the DBs get to be like, all right, I get to just play some football. I don't got to worry about the boys are going to get there. We can time up and play way better team football. So I think this is a perfect week for the boys to clean up the fundamentals, and it's going to show. Because if they can stop this run, I think it's one of those games where, okay, this is our type of football game. Let's play football now. So I'm excited for this game just because we're going to see old school fundamental football from our defense. And to say they're going to change anything, no, they just need to work on the fundamentals. Tackling.
It's the best team in the East, the 6-3 Tiger Cats taking on the number 1 squad in the West. Record-wise, 7-1. The Saskatchewan Roughriders hosting Hamilton this coming Saturday afternoon. Tiger Cats pregame begins at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Kickoff is at 3. You can hear all the action on the Ticats Audio Network. Sim, we'll stay with you on this one. This Saturday's game being played at Mosaic Stadium, as we know. The Riders are a CFL best 3-1, tied with Winnipeg at home. Which stadium in your playing days did you find was the toughest place to play as a visitor? And I'm not talking about playing against the team, but just the atmosphere, the crowd, the locker room, the cold showers. What was the toughest place to play?
I'm a little psycho, Rick. So like, I love that stuff. So it was like some of the funnest place to play is like in relative the toughest place to play. Like when you go to Saskatchewan, right? Saskatchewan, they be doing like their homework. Like they try to get at you. Like I remember when I first came to the CFL in 2013, we was at the Grey Cup. Like they was doing things on purpose. They had Rico, and every time they put a picture of Rico up, they put like this the ugliest picture. It wasn't even a real picture of Rico. It was just like a blacked out thing with dreadlocks. It was so crazy. And then they had all these signs talking about Henry Burris and stuff like that. So then you go to, and then I go to Saskatchewan. Y'all know whatever y'all track record with the Zach Calero controversial hit and everything. So now everybody in Saskatchewan think I owe them a Grey Cup because the quarterback that they let go to go to Winnipeg is now winning championships. So, I don't know. But so I go back to Saskatchewan and I'm just chirp all the time. And it's something like, the people that love football and understand this is all part of football, So, like, if you're chirping, you better chirp the right people because they're, like, when I played football, there's some people on other teams used to tell me the scouting report was, don't say nothing to Simoni. He feeds off of all the bull crap, And it's the same thing going into Mosaic. I know for a fact Bo Levi is going into that stadium and he cannot wait because who hates Bo Levi? Saskatchewan probably hate Bo Levi because Calgary, when Bo was there, he was putting belt to butt, fans, belt to butt. That's what Bo used to do. So him going into that environment, that's going to be fun to watch. So Saskatchewan's definitely one of those places where it's fun to play because the fans are really fans. And, like, that's what we want. Like, I want people saying, you suck, Simoni. You're a piece of crap. I hate you. You better hate. If you hate me, I'm doing my job because I play for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
I love it. Matt, was there a stadium that you found tough to play or maybe fun to play like Simoni?
You know what? It was fun to play. So when I left Hamilton and came back to Hamilton to play, that was fun. That was fun. I remember there was a play that I had. We played. I was in Winnipeg and we played against Hamilton, and I was on the sideline. And I'm like, there's some of my friends in the stands. So I'm like, and they're over there booing me, and I'm like, yo, but they're staying true to the black and gold. So I can't even be mad at them. But my close, like my family, like my brother, my mom.
They was talking about you after the game too.
They were supporting. They're all team Bucknor, you know what I mean? But some of the season ticket holders that were Ticats fans.
We love our season ticket holders, baby.
Hey, shout out to the season ticket holders for real. I'm like, man, yo, we went to the same high school. What's going on?
Yeah.
You know, but I think the most fun I had was coming back to Hamilton to play because I'm coming back home. It's fun. Yeah. You know, I got my friends, family that's here. So I think I would say coming back to when it was Tim Hortons Field, I would say that for sure.
That's awesome.
Rick, can I add another element to that?
Yes.
My favorite place to play for after the game? Oh, we got to talk about that. Because there's places you like to play in the city, but then there's post-game fun too. Because like this stuff is fun. Football is fun sport. Like
Can I guess the city?
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
That answer makes me think like you know what I know what it is. All due respect to Hamilton, which got some great hot spots. When you're on the road, I think Montreal's the place to be.
Yo, shout out my dog Rico. What's up, Rico? We love Montreal. I remember me and Rico had the strictest routine for football, and we would literally always get an interception that game or something big would happen every single time we played Montreal. But look, Montreal is up there. That would be like my number 2, like after game fun. You know what I'm saying? But for the rivalry aspect of this game, I love going to Toronto.
I knew it's Toronto.
There is nothing more fun than going to Toronto, beating Toronto in Toronto, and then going out in the city. Oh, my. I'm talking about because some players, for some reason, when they lose, they still like to go out. I don't even understand that. Like, why are you going out? You just lost the football game. But we would see some of them coming into the spots that we were in the club, and I would say, hey, let's bring out a sign. So we would have like Argo Suck in Toronto coming out wilding on.
Oh my god!
Because it's like I don't know. For me, I got to keep like certain things. Like if we got to play a team 6 times a year, I got to make this fun for me.
Yes.
So that's that. What about you, Matt? Where was your going out? Where was your cup of tea?
Post game
after a big W. You like, oh man, can't wait to go here.
I'll say BC actually.
Ooh,
I used to like BC because you go to the Cactus Club, you know, you at the Cactus Club and all that. You know, that was one of my spots back in the day.
Wow.
So yeah,
that's a nice place.
No, the Cactus Club in BC and Calgary.
In BC, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying in BC. Yeah, that was one of my little go-tos right there.
That boy Matt Bucknor used to go to Matt Bucknor used to go the day before, and he used to have to get more tickets all of a sudden to come to the game.
We're gonna get into all of that right now. We'll get into all of that right now.
That'll be on the unedited version of Ticats this week.
Yo, we need a Patreon.
Yes.
Man.
We certainly do. I'll tell you my favorite post-game scene. It wasn't a place. It was the GO train coming back from Toronto to Hamilton with Argos fans after the Ticats beat Toronto, and just seeing their faces on how dejected these Toronto fans were that they lost to the Ticats again at BMO Field, or whether it was Skydome or even Exhibition Stadium back in the day. I mean, that was so much fun being on those train rides, for sure.
Hell yeah.
Ticats are releasing, and here's the big announcement if you missed it. Ticats are releasing a new docu-series. It's called Made in the Hammer. This is a 4-part series that is produced and narrated by Stephen Brunt, award-winning author, best-selling author, award-winning journalist as well. And it's really giving fans a unique look, an up-close and personal look at the team and some of the players on and off the field. So I want to make this a little fun because I know we've all seen episode 1. It's fantastic, and I can't wait for episodes 2, 3, and 4. But Matt, if there was a Hollywood actor out there to play you in a movie, who would that actor be?
Oh my goodness. You know what? I'm gonna say a Michael B. Jordan. I'm gonna say Michael B.
Nice.
Jordan.
I like that.
Or like if Will shaved his head, then Will Smith too. I'd say Will Smith. If he shaved his head. If he was willing to shave his head.
I'm sure he would for the
role.
part, right?
Yeah. If he was gonna will it, I'd say Will and Michael B. Those would be the two guys that I would go with. Yeah.
Can't wait to go to the theater to watch the Simoni Lawrence story. Who is playing Sim, big number 21 on the big screen?
I ain't even gonna lie. I'll just tell y'all who played Simoni Lawrence. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell y'all a story. So Denzel Washington, right? He would have to be the only person that could play Simoni Lawrence because he's so versatile. And like I like to think that I'm a lot of things. You know, I can adapt anywhere pretty much. And Denzel Washington, you know, back in the day, he went on Saturday Night Live and played Simoni Lawrence. I'm going to tell y'all a quick little story. So back in the day, I used to play football. I got cut from so many NFL teams. And before I went back to the NFL, I was playing for this team. It was like in the UFL. And, you know, we were playing this team called like Sacramento. They had Dante Culpepper on the team. And they also had Denzel Washington's son on the team, right?
Oh.
So I'm playing linebacker. I'm running them down. I hit Denzel Washington's son. And then I'm backing out. And then I ran into Denzel Washington's wife, and I ran her over. I'm like, oh man, my bad. You know, I'm trying to help her up, and then so Denzel Washington, he get on Saturday Night Live. He capped on the whole. He lied on me, y'all. He told her, well, he was acting, right? So he was acting like Simoni Lawrence. Like, I guess he was acting, right? So he telling the story. He's like, yeah, my son made a move, juke, did a backflip, all this. And then the linebacker came and tried to hit my son. He misses, and he ran into my wife. My wife hit him, and then he fell on the ground, and my wife had to help him up. I'm like, that's not what happened. Come on, Dad. Come on, watch. I love Denzel. So if anybody gonna bend the truth on me and tell a story, he could have it. You know what I'm saying? But that's who would have to come and play Simoni. Probably like he got to be like he can't play Sim now. He got to get in that training day shape. You know what I mean? That's the kind of Denzel we would need to come and play Simoni Lawrence. You know what I'm saying? He got to be a dog a little bit still. You know what I mean? But yeah, it would definitely be Denzel. You know, shout out to Denzel for going on Saturday Night Live and saying that his wife ran me over though. What?
Okay, we gotta find this clip. I gotta find this clip.
Yes.
I'm sure Troy will find it somewhere, and we gotta find Denzel talking about it because I remember he was on stage and she looked down at him like, "Get up, you punk!" I was like, "What?" I'm sitting at Minnesota. I'm sitting in my Minnesota apartment like, "What? This is crazy.
How did this happen?
What you doing, bro?"
That is funny. If I had to pick a person, I'd either go with Jonah Hill or Will Ferrell to play Rick Zamperin in a movie. Yeah, two versatile guys. Probably lean towards Will Ferrell. He's a little older. That'd be a funny movie, I think. 6-3 Ticats, 7-1 Saskatchewan Roughriders in Regina this Saturday. Tiger Cats pregame kicks off at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Kickoff is at 3 p.m. You can catch all the action on the Ticats Audio Network. And again, Made in the Hammer, this cool 4-part docuseries, will drop Wednesday for season seat holders, Thursday for the general public. Look for the 3 other parts to this awesome series. Hit like, hit subscribe. A new episode of Ticats This Week drops next week, and we'll catch you then.
This has been the Ticats This Week on the Ticats Audio Network. Like, follow, and get a deeper understanding of your Hamilton Tiger Cats.